And welcome to Legends of the Wind. I'm Jurri Schenck. Thank you for joining us tonight. It is an exciting time tonight. I am really pumped about tonight's story and our guest, Lysa Beltz. It's so cool to have her coming on the show. Just so everybody knows, I've never met her before. I just got her on the program I set up just before we go on the air, and we were just having a great time getting things worked out, and I am so stoked about her story. I wrote her story last night, and I have to tell you, it's a lot of fun. So welcome to the show. I want to talk about what it means to become a legend, because Lysa tonight is going to become a legend. What does that mean? Legends, you may think, well, I'm going to be famous or I'm a historical person and something like that. Well, legends have a function, and these stories have a function. And what is a legend? So a legend is something on a map. It's a symbol. It gives you a place of knowing where things are on the map and what direction you're going and how to make a pathway on your destination or your adventure. So that's what it means to become a legend on a map. And what happens with these stories, these prophetic stories, that these give identities and destinies to the person receiving them, giving them revelation and insight to who they are and what their future is. And it's super powerful. So many people have gotten these stories over the past years, and many have been greatly encouraged. Their lives have been changed. It's an amazing process to let the prophetic flow and really touch people's hearts. So tonight's question is going to be, how much will you sacrifice for others? So I want you to be thinking about that when we listen to our story for Lysa. Now, I also want to encourage you to please check out our previous episodes on the YouTube channel. Last week's show was with Marcus, and it was a story called Into the Deep. And it was a very powerful time. It was almost like a James Cameron abyss, underwater ocean rescue situation. And when I wrote it, I was like, how in the world is this going to really touch this guy's heart who I've never met before? Well, I got a big surprise, and so did he, that his story was, he said, was the very thing he needed right then in his life right now. And he was deeply moved by that prophetic story. So I would encourage you just to check out other episodes. Because someone has received a story, we can all benefit from learning about other people's stories. So I want to encourage you for that. Now, if you see this episode and you see how powerful these prophetic stories are, and you want to get your own story, we recommend that you go to our website, legendsofthewind.com, and go to the store and look for the product called Become a Legend. And there you can order a story. And we have a sale still going on. It's 40% off. Typically, the full price of these stories are $250. I spend a lot of time and talent working on these and crafting these stories for these people. It's a form of an art. It's an art form. And so it's a valuable thing, and it takes a lot of work. So right now our current price is $145. Now, if you do want to get your own prophetic story, you also need to sign a couple releases. One is a release to be on the show. If you want to not be on the show, we can work with you with that. And of course, a contract. And therefore, you can check out our schedule and be on the show with us. Now, by the way, we also have some products. So if you want to order a prophetic story, you can also have my wife, Alisha, design for you a cover of your story. It's illustrated. It can be hardbound, softbound, and Alisha does these for you. These are single prints, and it's a keepsake for you. So if you love what your story says and how it touched your heart, you can get this as well. We also have my book. This is Volume 1 of Legends of the Wind. It's 20 prophetic stories written for children and adults. These stories are super powerful. They have amazing hidden treasures in them that give you insight and revelation of who you are and also about your destiny. We also will have our audiobook, which is me reading, but it's not just me reading. It's amazing sound design of sound effects, music. It's a whole immersive experience. So check it out on our website, legendsofthewind.com, and you'll also get the book at Amazon as well. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Welcome to the show. I'd like now to introduce our guest, Lysa Beltz. So Lysa, hold on a second. I'll bring you on. And there you are, Lysa. How are you?
Hey, Jurri, I'm doing great. I'm really excited to be on here tonight. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm super stoked to meet you too. So just like I said earlier, by the way, just so other people know, have I ever met you before?
You have not.
Have I ever called you on the phone and asked secret information?
You have not.
No. And that's the beauty of what this is. I put myself on the line every time. I take a risk and somehow heaven shows up. It's a beautiful time. So why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
I would love to. Thank you for the opportunity. I describe myself by day. I am a software project manager for a great company here in the Northwest that manufactures French fries. Sometimes going to work is just really enjoyable because we get to sample the fries. And so by
Nice.
day, I'm a mild mannered project manager. But then nights and weekends, I am a life-changing life coach.
Ah.
And God called me into life coaching about 10 years ago. And I will also get sometimes prophetic words for people. When I'm coaching, I will just get these incredibly divine downloaded questions that just help people break through their mindset, figure out what God's calling them to do. I try to work myself out of a job so that people learn to hear from God for themselves. But life coaching is just my passion, and I am truly out to change the world for the
That that is so cool, so beautiful. I love your heart. I love your enthusiasm. You're a very passionate person. I can just see the energy coming off of you. It's beautiful. So you talk about the prophetic. Well, why did you request a prophetic story?
And as a prophet, you always get words for other people, but it's really challenging to get a prophetic word for yourself and be objective about it. And so I've actually been asking God for a while for a prophetic word for me. And
Oh.
so when my friend Jenny Wheeler shared that she and her son had been on the show and
Mhm.
how cool it was, I just thought, this is an opportunity for me to get a prophetic word into my life.
Wow. Well, thank you very much for trusting me and the Father to do that for you. So may this be a significant time for your benefit. Thank you to Jenny also for introducing you to me. Jenny's a beautiful woman. I'm really happy to know her and her family. I really think a lot about her. So that's amazing connection being
Yeah.
made.
Yeah. No, it's
Wow.
cool.
Very nice. Well, tonight's story is your story. You are becoming a legend. Your story is titled Give Me Time.
Okay.
Now, how do we handle prophetic stories? Well, I want you in the audience to understand that these stories are not meant to be taken literally, even if they have a feeling of realism. Okay? There's always a thing symbolically hidden. There's hidden treasures in how to understand these. So the story is a revelation. Afterward, we talk, and it's a conversation for interpretation. And then in that conversation, hopefully you and I discover what the application is of that story or
Mhm.
that prophetic
Mhm.
legend. Now, you also, Lisa, have power. You have a choice. You can. What do you do with the story? You can say yes, I accept this story, or no, I do not. And you may say, parts of it I will accept. Or maybe you need time to process it. So, just so you know, Lisa, every single person that gets a prophetic story, right when I finish, there's this awkward moment where they've been drinking from a fire hose of storytelling revelation that they have to go and adjust and get their mind going. Okay, now it's time to talk. So I will
Mhm.
help you with that. So just so you know, that always happens, and I'm here
Okay.
for you. Now, hopefully, people in the chat would be willing to chime in and participate. We welcome the chat to ask questions, to give comments, whatever you want to say. We'd love to hear from you as well. So, um, you don't know this because you've not seen these shows. Lisa, do you know what time it is?
It's go time.
Go time. I love it. Yes, it can be. It's story time.
It's story time. Well, that makes sense.
There we go. So, I got your story right here. Are you
Okay.
ready?
I am
And
ready.
by the way, do you have a little notebook with you by chance?
I do.
Okay,
Yep, right
just in case something sticks
here. Mhm.
out,
You
write it
bet.
down. Okay, here we go. All right. Oh, well, let me start before I start. This is a comedy, okay, guys? This story is silly and full of physical action and comedy. It's not a serious, heavy thriller, okay? And I will do my best to perform it in such manner, okay? Give me time. The broken wristwatch laid on the top of the dresser. It had a cracked face, and the band was barely attached. The fight last night was quite a brawler, and Lisa's survival of the event surprised her. It all went down at the town's shopping mall. It was Black Friday, and all the deals were about to happen. Lisa and her girlfriends waited with the crowd outside the main entrance to the enormous shopping center. It was 11:55 p.m., and the crowd was hungry, with a passion to enter and find their heart's desires. The energy of the crowd increased as they seethed to come inside. Lisa and her girlfriends pushed their way to the front and tried to get an advantage. However, the crowd pushed on them, and Lisa felt she was about to get crushed. They could see inside the band of security guards, all waiting for the moment to open the doors. There were only 10 of them, and they shivered in fear. There were more shoppers than they were on the security team. They too felt the pressure of the Black Friday shoppers, and their hands trembled. They did not want to make any sudden moves. One security guard chomped on some chewing gum and said, "It's like the zombie apocalypse waiting outside." His friend replied, "I hope they don't eat our brains." The team's boss looked at his watch. It said 11:59. The second hand ticked away. Outside, the crowd reached a fever pitch. The people's faces squashed on the glass doors. Fists gripped the handles of the doors. One shopper pulled out a baseball bat and winked at the security guards, who reached for his handcuffs. The game was about to begin. The security team's boss said, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let them in. The "I hope I don't eat their brains" security guard stared at the crowd pressing on the glass, and with courage stepped up, took out his key, and unlocked the doors. What happened next I can only describe in certain words, as everything went way too fast. It was a blur, chaos, trampling, screaming, falling, stomping, frothing out the mouth, shelves swept bare, running, dashing, more screaming, then swiping of credit cards, and of course, the fighting. Here we return to Lisa and her mission. She wanted to find a special perfume for her mother. It was called La Roja Roja, and it was the only brand her mother loved and approved. The fragrance was rare and very expensive. Only today it would go on sale for 60% off. Lisa had to get it as her mother's Christmas present. Not only that, Lisa's mother was elderly, and she wanted to make a surprise gift for what may be their last Christmas together. Lisa's mother was important to her, and to honor her with this prize gift would be the best expression of love she could imagine. Lisa's father had passed away some years before, and it was he who introduced this rare fragrance to his wife. When everyone smelled this perfume, they felt the love and tender care he offered to the family growing up. Lisa wanted to remind her mother of him as well. That is how important it was to her. Lisa ran as fast as she could to the Nordstrom store at the end of the hall. It was 3 levels, and only the escalator could take her to the second floor, where the fragrance booth was. Lisa huffed and puffed as she plowed her way through and stepped up the moving escalator. Different men and women crossed her pathway and sometimes blocked her motions. Lisa was just like a football player, dodging to the left and right as she pursued her end zone. Lisa reached the fragrance booth, and about 5 men and women hovered around, looking at the items. From her estimation, these customers were browsing and didn't know what they wanted. Lisa stepped up to the glass case and used her laser-focused eyes and scanned everywhere. Off in the corner on the back shelf, there was La Roja Roja. It was only one box that was encased in black and had a crystal bottle. The packaging fitted how expensive and precious it was. Lisa looked at the booth's attendant and saw he was busy with another customer. Anxiety filled Lisa's heart as she was so close to getting what she was looking for, and now no one could help her. The attendant finished with the customer and turned to Lisa. But just at that moment, the attendant's supervisor arrived and instructed him to help someone else. Then the supervisor walked to the back shelf and looked around and discovered the La Roja Roja and picked it up. The supervisor called out, "Here it is!" And he turned around to show the black box to a tall man who was on the opposite side of the fragrance booth. Lysa looked at what just transpired and panic filled her heart. In slow motion, she saw the supervisor carry over La Roja Roja to the tall man. Panic and rage erupted inside Lysa, and she cried out, "Mommy!" and leaped through the crowd to where the tall man stood. Now, let us turn the story to the tall man. He was about 6'4" and easily weighed 270 pounds. Muscles were his game and money was his name. This man was a former NFL football player and a collector of the finer things of life. Earlier, before the security guards let in the crowd of fevered shoppers, this player arrived at the mall in his Mercedes-Benz and drove into the underground parking garage for VIP access. Security let him into the Nordstrom store via the employee elevator to shop. Unfortunately for him, he had to be among the riffraff of the real world. But this player had the favor of the store supervisor at hand. He also had the rage and passion of a small, middle-aged woman who had to surprise her mother with the most precious Christmas gift in the world. Lisa's eyes were wide open. Her mouth cried out, "That's my mother's!" The enraged Lysa caught the supervisor and the former NFL player off guard. Lysa reached out and snatched the box in midair and landed on her feet just 10 yards away from the fragrance session and the men's tires. The former NFL player saw what just happened and cried foul, "Hey, lady, that's mine!" Lysa looked down at her prize. She finally had La Roja Roja, but she looked up to see the 270 pounds of muscle charging her way. In the passing of time, nanoseconds, Lysa made a quick decision. Run! Lysa's round little body ran fast to the left and the right, through the men's tie section, down the aisle of the men's shoes, and underneath a display of Christmas lights shining out the Black Friday discounts. Everything crashed down around Lysa, and this made the former NFL player's pursuit even more difficult. He jumped and hopped and stepped around his way around the obstacles. He remembered his rage in the game from his good old days on the AstroTurf. It was all coming back to him. Lysa tucked La Roja Roja under her arm and continued to plow her way out of the store. She ran past her girlfriends, who had lost her earlier, and asked, "Was that Lysa? What is she doing?" Suddenly, the former NFL player rushed by them. "Uh-oh," said the other girlfriend. By now, the chase exhausted Lysa, and she was out of breath. She ran down the hallway of the mall on the second level and looked for a place to hide. The former NFL player was gaining on her. He breathed through his nostrils like a wild horse. Lysa ran around a corner and stopped. She tried to open some doors that were supposed to lead to the bathrooms, but they were locked. "Crap," she said. Lysa turned around and the raging former NFL football player found her. She hid the black case behind her back. The man slowed down and his eyes were red. "Please, I need this for my mama," she pleaded. "That's mine," snarled the man. Lysa's eyes welled up with tears. She sniffed and slobbered. "Please, I need this for my mama." The looming man came close, and Lysa leaned her back against the wall. His large presence overwhelmed her. "Please, don't you have a mama?" These words got his attention. "Mama?" He was confused. "Yes, mama. I need this for her." "Don't you have a mama?" Lysa pulled out the black box and continued. "She's very old. This might be my last Christmas with her," sniffed Lysa. The player absorbed what Lysa said. Her words hit his heart. "I lost my mama 3 years ago." Now tears appeared in his eyes too. The man stopped and dropped to one knee. "She never saw my big game." He shook his head, remembering. "I played the winning touchdown for her." Now Lysa and the big former football player shared a puddle of tears on the mall floor. Lysa set down the black box and hugged the man as they cried. He returned the hug and cried out, "Mommy." After a few moments, he looked up at Lysa, who stood above him, and said, "I'm sorry. You can have the box. I only wanted it for my collection. I don't have anyone special to give it to." Lysa inhaled a deep shock and then smiled. She wiped the tears off of his cheeks. Are you sure? She asked. Yes, ma'am. He nodded his head and sniffed. I will never let someone hurt their mama. Lysa gasped with joy and hugged the immense man. Thank you. The former football player stood up and took her hand. He said, I'm going to pay for this. He lifted her hand and kissed it. As he did, he saw that Lisa's wristwatch was broken and about to fall off. Hey, look. Oh, replied Lysa, it's broken. I'm going to pay for this too, ma'am. It's my fault. I shouldn't have scared you by chasing you down the mall. The two new friends walked together hand in hand and returned to Nordstrom. The former NFL football player found the fragrance booth supervisor and paid for La Roja Roja. Next, they went to the watch section, and the player had Lysa pick out a new watch. You can get whatever you want. Lysa felt humbled and overwhelmed by these kind gestures. She looked up into his eyes, thanked him, and gave him a kiss on the cheek. Lysa then walked out of the high-end store and found her girlfriends sitting on a bench, sucking on straws and drinking some smoothies. One of them asked, Hey, Lysa, did you know there's some creep chasing you? Are you okay? Oh, I'm fine, dear. He helped me. I won his heart. The girlfriends couldn't understand, and Lysa told them the entire story. They gasped with amazement that she survived such a crazy Black Friday shopping escapade. Exhausted, they went home, and Lysa fell fast asleep. In her dreams, Lysa saw her father, and he told her how special she was to him. Her father also said that this gift would be the perfect Christmas present for Mom. It was from Lysa and him from heaven. Inceptio. That's all. So I always end a story with Inceptio. And it means Latin for the beginning. So what I'm doing with these prophetic stories, these legends, is I'm painting a picture of your identity and destiny, and I'm handing you a gold treasure for you to finish your parable. So I say Inceptio, which is the beginning. It's not the end, it's your future. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Oh, good. Oh, good. So now that little transition right there, I told you, I warned you about that, didn't I?
You did warn me, Jurri.
Yeah, so let me ask you this. How are you feeling? How did this story touch you?
It really got caught up in it, was with you every step, and the funny thing is I had, not that I've done anything for years, but I actually have a brown belt in martial arts. It's like, yes,
wow.
He was going down.
You tricked me, didn't you?
No, not really. I just, like I said, I really haven't done anything with my martial arts for several years.
Whoa. So, okay.
Yeah, no, it's so well written, so well delivered. Still thinking through the prophetic implications. I mean, I can go a couple of different directions with it. So really good, really well done.
Oh, thank you. Jen just chimed in. Lysa definitely can win over any heart. Cool. Very cool. So where do you want to begin? What is the anything specific touching you or resonating with you?
Yeah, so several things resonate. Okay. So the first thing is thinking symbolically about what the NFL player represents.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so what kind of comes to me of what he represents is the future. The future can be pretty intimidating, and you don't think about the future chasing you. But in some ways, the future chases us to help us prioritize and be and become who we need to be to meet that future. Another thought that went through my mind is it is a person who comes across very harshly at first, but ends up being just a big teddy bear, and you end up being best friends, right? And so many people that I work with in coaching are very either hurt or wounded or full of fear. And so they come across very different than how they really are on the inside. So, like I said, there's two or three different things that I can think of what this could be symbolic of.
Okay.
You know, my parents have both passed away.
Okay.
So La Roja Roja, I'm wearing red. It's like, okay, no accident there. My mom did have a favorite perfume. It was called Emerald, and I don't
Oh.
even know if they make it anymore or not, but it was the perfect gift for my mom.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's just a lot of really good parallels to reality.
Brilliant. That is amazing. So the perfume for your mom was the thing, right? That was the gift,
It
right?
was. It
Ah,
was.
so cool. I love it.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. No, it's really
Wow.
good, Yuri.
Wow. And tell me about your relationship with your mom and dad.
So I am the youngest of four. I
Okay.
was the caboose. And so the last 4 years, I was the only child left at home. And so by the time I was, a teenager or whatever, they were pretty settled. And so grew up with horses. We grew up in the Yakima Valley. We'd actually take my dad and I would take the horses and pack, 10, 12 miles back into the mountains,
Hmm.
stay for a week. So my dad and I did a lot of things together. My mom taught me so many things. My mom taught me to sew. She taught me to cook, a lot of those things. So she and I also had a really strong relationship.
Wow.
And we kind of talk about if you could bring anybody back for an hour from history, who would you bring back? I would bring back my mom. I have questions. It's like, you know,
Wow.
now that I'm this age and I'm at this point in life, I have questions for my mom and I can't ask her.
Oh, wow.
So, it's really strong. It's really powerful.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
The title of your story is important too. Give me time. What do you think
hmm
about that?
So one of the things that and as a coach, you're not supposed to use the word struggle, but I do struggle with having enough time to do all the things I want to do. And so I'm an empath. I'm a highly sensitive person, which means I need white space. I
Mm.
need time alone to recharge so that I can then go coach and
Mm-hmm.
support and speak life into other people.
Wow.
So time is a really critical element for me. I'm also, and I'm pretty open about it. I'm 62. I'll be 63 next month.
Okay.
And it's like life is just starting. So when you say inceptio, life is just starting in my 60s. I've got
Wow.
a couple more years in corporate America, and then I'll shift gears and go full time into coaching.
Mm-hmm.
God's given me some visions of things that I'm going to do on a global basis as
Oh,
far as teaching and
okay.
coaching, those kinds of things. So time is really interesting right now.
Wow.
So I struggle with not having enough time. I struggle with not having enough time alone. And then I struggle with where I'm at in life, kind of wishing things would hurry up so I could get on with the next chapter, but knowing that I have growth to do right now before I can get to that next chapter.
Mm.
So,
Wow.
and we can all use more money, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for me, time is probably my most critical element of life.
Wow.
So yeah, when we were talking before the show and you mentioned time, it's like, okay, yep, yep. And I feel like I have wasted a lot of time in my life. And so it's like, and I think the book that you held up said, the clock is ticking.
Yeah.
And it's I feel sometimes like God wants me to get a little bit more engaged and get in the game a little bit better because the clock is ticking.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the very first image when I wrote this story is the broken wristwatch lay on top of the dresser. Actually, let's unpack that. What do you think about the watch? That's a key moment. It only
Yeah.
appears a couple times in the story.
Well, and so a broken watch is right twice a day.
Right.
A watch that is slow or fast is never accurate. So,
Mm.
so there's that aspect of it. The broken watch being on top of the dresser is really interesting. I'm not getting a clear definition of what the watch represents.
Well, you may have already said it, Lisa. It may be the fact that you wasted time, and that
Mm-hmm.
how you feel that you could have hindsight, like used better use of your time. And I think that you said the big NFL football player is the future.
Mm-hmm.
Your future will restore and redeem the time.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah. And the gift you carry
Hmm.
is something precious that you meant for the benefit of others, to remind yourself and others of the riches of your family, the things that you carry in your heart. And you carry that gift in your heart, right? And of course, the future is running down, going to barrel down and get you, but then ends up becoming your best friend, and
Oh,
it
that's so
redeems the
good.
time.
Oh, so good, Jerry. So good. That's awesome.
Now, what is the time, this future? He's a VIP. He's a very important person. Your future is a very, very important person to you. Who
Mhm.
you are in your future, you, Lisa, are a very important person. Wealth, riches, influence, status, strength,
Yeah.
power, the car, the Mercedes Benz. It's a place of elevated activity, a place of excellence. That is who you are in the future.
It is. And it's interesting because one of the declarations that I got from the Lord this week is that I will be ridiculously influential and ridiculously impactful.
That just sounds ridiculously awesome.
And ridiculous. Oh, and ridiculously rich. But it's
Yes, right.
rich for the purpose of advancing the kingdom of God.
Absolutely. Yes, wealth is a tool.
Yep.
Wealth is a tool for one, giving you more free time to be with your family, and also for advancing good purposes. It's not just meant for
You
your
got it.
pleasure. Now, don't forget,
Correct.
pleasure is from heaven too. God wants to
Mhm.
give you pleasure, but it also must be for His purposes and plans.
Yes.
And you're co-creating and co-laboring with the desires of your heart. So that's super important. Is like heaven, Lisa, heaven wants to remind you of the desires of your heart. All
Mhm.
these things that you're sharing is the future and is the desires of your heart. And so you can look at it like the desires of your heart are chasing you down.
Oh, that's awesome, Jurri.
Your
Woohoo!
future and
Love it.
your vision is chasing you down.
It's the goodness of God,
Yeah,
right?
and you forgot that you thought it was stolen.
Yeah.
You thought it
Yeah.
was taken from you.
Yeah.
But no, your future possesses that gift. Your future is like, that's mine. And like, no, that's for my mom. You're doing it on behalf of someone else. You're not being selfish.
Yeah.
It's the Christmas gift, right? And
It
so
is.
it's a brilliant thing. I think I'm getting this as I'm just talking here. Um,
Yeah.
so they're your friends. What are they
Mhm.
doing? You are on the move, Lisa, and there are other people in your life that are just sucking on the straw, drinking
Yeah.
their smoothie, unaware that their future could be chasing them down too.
And there's passion in it.
Yeah, you have passion. They're just casual observers, these characters in the story. But you're
Mhm.
not. You're on a mission,
Yep.
and you're like jumping through the men's tie section, through the men's shoe. I can't say it, shoe
Yeah.
section,
Two
and
seconds.
you're going for it. The only thing I realize in hindsight on this story is you never set off the security alarms going outside the store. What's
Well, I
happening with
kind of
that?
wondered about that too. Okay, we're running down the mall. We're running through the mall.
I know, right? But the thing is, you went back, and in your future, chasing you down,
Mhm.
bought the gift.
Yep.
And,
And I
and
went back with the future as my friend.
yes, isn't that
Yeah.
great?
Yeah. No, it's awesome. Okay, so
Cool.
I gotta tell you, I had
Yeah.
just a really short Blues Brothers moment in there. I'm
Yeah.
on a mission. A mission from
I'm a
God.
mission from God. I got this is the Ray-Bans. I'm on a mission from God.
Yep.
Now, I
Just
just want, Lisa, I'd love to go to a bar and see you singing and dancing with that chicken wire screen and everyone's throwing beer bottles at you.
oh, that'd be hilarious.
Oh my God, that's great.
Yes, but
Great. I love that movie. It's so much
yep,
fun.
yep. No, that'd be awesome.
I also love how playful and enthusiastic you are. And I think that that is a kiss from heaven that you carry. The kiss. He kissed your hand.
Yep.
So all that time that you thought was lost, wasted, ruined, heaven's going to affectionately reward you with the redeemed time.
Oh, that's awesome. So I get there's one I'm getting nudged, Jurri.
Okay.
So the La Roja is
Yeah.
in a black box.
Yeah.
There's something significant to the black,
Oh. Why
and
are
I
all the penguin or not penguin suits, tuxedos and celebrity cars? Black in dream language can not just it can be mean many things. Some people say, "Oh, it's evil." Black, right? No, no, no. Black, a black limousine, a black Mercedes Benz, a black suit. It represents royalty.
ah
It represents wealth and financial prosperity. That's I would say in your story that's what it means.
yeah, yeah. It's like I kept, and it's interesting because the box that I'm seeing has a silver diamond. I don't know if you said the silver diamond or if you described it or if it's just
I
my
kind of saw it, but what you're saying
okay.
would fit for me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Now,
it's a black shiny black box with a silver
right,
diamond.
right. And here, let me blow your mind, Lisa. Your gift that you carry, that you thought was stolen from you, carried your tears and your sacrifice and your suffering. Just like when the woman poured out the perfume on Jesus' feet and washed his feet with her tears and her hair.
Whoa. Ooh.
You have that in you, that sacrificial love. And whatever you're going to be doing in the future, everybody's going to smell it.
That's
If the
awesome.
aroma of what you do will fill the room and everyone's going to be touched by it and everyone's going to be affected by your fragrance in a good way.
Yeah, yeah.
And
No, I get it.
it comes from your suffering and it comes from what you've learned and how you've pursued him and sacrificed for him and that won't be stolen from you. It will
Yeah,
be redeemed.
that's fantastic. That's and I know exactly what that is referring to.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's been some hard times when I
Mhm.
have stayed faithful. I've just,
Yeah.
kept just like Elisha kept his focus on Elijah to get
Mhm.
that double portion of the blessing.
Mhm.
Stayed focused when it would have been really easy not to.
Yeah, and like the name of the fragrance, La Roja Roja, it's double,
Yep, yep.
double.
The red.
Red, 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 red.
That was
But it's
awesome.
also like red, red, and also like a flower.
Uh-huh.
I was researching men's fragrances recently for a YouTube channel, and they talk about the notes that go into
Hmm. Yep.
aromas and perfumes and
I know I
cologne,
love.
different
Hmm.
and different spices and different
Yep.
flowers, herbs.
Essential essential oils are the
Yeah,
same way. You've got the high, medium, and low notes.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
And roja is one of the notes, and
Um,
one it's from a flower, right? And so the thing is, I'm going to help you out. You are about to blossom in such a new way that you will surprise even yourself how powerful. See, you carry treasure and gold inside you, and you've known it, but you've not even for yourself seen it yourself.
yep.
You are now entering into a whole new season of promotion where that flower, that blossoming, and that treasure is going to be fully realized and fully expressed. That's your next season. And
Wow.
while the world is suffering from inflation, rumors of wars, and all this conflict and trial, you are going to be prospering financially, relationally, and with your career and with your gifting. And you're going to have a freedom in yourself where you will learn to love yourself in a whole new way that you never learned to love yourself before.
Wow.
And that's going to come from your clients. There's going to be things in your people that you've already been working with that they're going to unearth something in you that you didn't know you had. Good things, treasures that you not understood about yourself. They will end up becoming a mirror for you.
It's true. They do.
So you're going to be learning from them, and they may turn the tables on you in your sessions where they're going to speak something to you and you will receive from them.
That's awesome. I can absolutely see that happening. And I'm getting the word seed. There are seeds planted that God planted in me before the beginning of time that are just starting to erupt. And so they're growing, but you don't see the growth yet.
Right. I also learned in the past that, when you have what's called bamboo, so you have a bamboo forest and you plant it, those seeds and those root systems are buried for long time.
5 years.
How long?
5 years.
Okay. And then at some point there's a transition where all of a sudden the work under the ground transitions to growth upward, and it's a rapid growth. It's the same analogy of building a skyscraper. The engineers and the construction people go deep down into the ground, building a heavy foundation. And they layer that foundation, they build it, they get the structures of the underground. And you don't see people driving by like, what the heck are they doing? There's nothing happening.
A big hole. Yeah.
And then at some point, that foundation has been set and cured, and the structures are ready to go, and all of a sudden, it just goes up. And you see it.
So on that one,
yes,
God has told me for the last 3 to 4 years, I had to dig my foundation 3 stories deep because we're going 7 stories tall.
Wow. Great.
Yep. Great. And so I finished the excavation. The foundation is poured, and we're in the process of laying the ground floor.
Right. And see, Jesus was in the tomb for 3 days, and that laying that foundation is a form of death, a dying, where you think everything's crap. And then you build up, and that's 7, and that means a full completion, a satisfied, a complete set. So those are the numbers there, right?
Awesome. That's fantastic.
Jenny's also speaking in the chat. She says, amen, that's amazing. She also says, double portion of anointing and ministry. Everything that was stolen or lost will be replaced above and beyond comprehension.
Amen, sister.
There you go.
Bring it, girl. Yeah.
That is cool and awesome. Wow.
Yes.
So what are you thinking about this story? Anything else that's sticking out to you? Any other ideas to explore?
So the name of my business, the name of my coaching business is Women Empowered for Life. And so it's empowered to go do life, but it's also empowered for the rest of their life. And so the story, Jurri, represents the rest of my life. Cool. So it is me being empowered through this prophetic word for the rest of my life.
Nice. Great. Now, I want to challenge you with some new ideas. Okay?
Okay.
You had said something very earlier that I didn't forget. Okay? You said you have questions for your mom. Okay. So I'm going to enter a territory that some Christians may find controversial.
Okay.
Okay? Yep. So let me ask you some rhetorical questions that will be an unveiling revelation for you in the audience.
Okay.
Are there dead people in heaven?
No.
No. So all the people who are from the earth that passed away in their physical body, who have believed in Jesus, are in heaven, right? They're alive, right?
Correct.
Okay, good. Now, does the Bible say we are already seated in heavenly places?
He does.
Good.
And I've actually been there.
Okay, great. Now, so does the Bible say that the only way to the Father is through Jesus?
He does.
Okay. Now, another rhetorical question. Who's more powerful, Jesus or death?
Jesus.
Okay. So then why are we as Christians confessing and glorifying death by saying these words? When I die, then I will go to heaven.
Yep. Come on, brother. Preach it.
Now, so if we're already seated in heavenly places, the gateway to the Father is through Jesus. Jesus has defeated death. Then that means that we don't have to wait till we die to go there. So you say you are prophetic, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. So when someone who doesn't see in the Spirit or hear God's voice, and they need to awaken, right? Mm-hmm. Let's use an analogy. Let's say someone's asleep in bed, and this person is supposed to awaken their spiritual eyes and ears. So when you are sleeping in bed and you're beginning to wake up, what is the first sense that comes to your attention? Touch. You feel the comfort of the comforter, the warmth of the blanket, the presence of God. Then your ears open up and you're like, oh, I can hear the neighbor mowing the lawn next door, or the birds chirping outside in the tree. Then you open your eyes and your eyes adjust. And you're like, oh, look, I can see the sun coming in from the window or the things in the room. Now, Lysa, if you have a job, right? You're responsible.
Yep.
If you had a job and all you did was stay in bed under the comforter looking around, do you think you'd keep your job for very long?
Not for terribly long, no.
No, you're sleeping on the job, aren't you? Now, also, you have a family, right? What if you stayed in bed all the time and didn't get out of the room? You're missing out the opportunity to be with your mom, with your dad, with your father, with the family. See, the prophetic isn't the end all to be all. If you can just see and hear, that's great, because a lot of people can't even do that. But there's another thing coming. Ascending out of your bed into the rooms of your house, to be with your family, to go into the rooms of your house, to be with the people with whom you love and they love you. So if you know that, the Bible says that talking to the dead is sinful, and if you know that people in heaven are not dead, then Lysa, I want to present to you an opportunity to see and hear and engage in the spiritual imagination guided by God for you to meet your mom.
That's awesome.
And your dad.
Yeah.
Now I made another rhetorical question. Are there two churches in the world?
No.
No. So there's not one church in heaven and then another on earth. We are one. We are one family. So there's nothing to separate or divide us any further. The only thing that's separating us is our understanding, or the lack of understanding.
Lack of understanding.
Right. So now you have opportunity for relationship with the family of heaven. It's almost like, if you become a Christian, you become born again, God gives you a card, a gold card. It's a member card. And it's a card that you can use for all the resources from heaven. All the money, all the body parts if you need it for healing, the relationships, the ideas, the revelation. But most people don't even know they have been given that.
Yeah.
And then there's some people that have been given that. They know they have it, but they don't do anything with the card. I saw a video, like I told you, about men's fashion and men's fragrances.
Yep.
This guy is amazing. He's mentoring men about how to dress well. And I've been watching it. I'm really excited. Because I don't know if you know this. In the past 6 months or 5 months, I've lost over 65 pounds of weight.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
I've gotten really healthy, and I don't have any new clothes. I need
Yeah,
to buy new clothes. So
yes, you
I'm
do.
wanting to learn. Now, one of the
Hmm.
things he says in one of his videos is like, he's like, what's the most important thing to a guy about men's fashion? And he goes through all these things, and each one he answers, is that the most important thing? No, it's not. Is it this? Da 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 da. 10 minutes go by. Finally, he goes, you guys have been waiting for me to tell you what is the thing that's the most important thing you need to do to learn about men's fashion. Well, here it is. You have to give a damn.
Ah, there you
So if
go.
you're going to, if you know that you have opportunity and access to heavenly places, to be with the family of God, and you
Mhm.
know about it, you have to give a damn. You have to care and want it. You have to want it to go for it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just sitting in that bed and you're about to get fired from your job, and you're basically not participating in a relationship. Heaven is relationship. It's meant to be interactive and to be experienced.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
Lisa, going back to you,
Hmm.
you have questions. I now give you revelation and permission and understanding to have those questions answered. You
Fantastic.
now have an opportunity for you. Does that help you?
It does. Absolutely. And it again, Jury, it aligns so much with things that are already happening. I'm reading a book right now that is all about near death experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And it is people from literally all over the globe, every religion known to man, that have had near death experiences and how consistent their experience is.
Right.
And it is exactly the things you're talking about. It is what we have access to in the realms that we have access to now
Right.
while we're still alive rather than having to wait.
Yes. And see, how do I do this? I go
Yeah,
look. I go look.
yeah,
All I do is I go look and I listen
yep,
and I watch
yep,
and I write
yep.
down the story. I don't
Hmm.
want to be the only one doing this. My heart is that more people do what I do in their own way.
Yep,
And so it's a beautiful thing. It's such a when you
yep.
realize that this makes your faith fun.
Hmm.
It makes it exciting and not dry. It makes it's enriching. Oh my God, I just get excited about
Yeah.
this. That's why I'm so passionate about doing this, because I want to help people have more of heaven. I mean, doesn't Jesus say that pray that heaven come to earth,
Yep.
right?
E- Exactly.
Yeah.
And again, what the Holy Spirit is telling me is it is time, it is the appointed time for us as believers to bring the energy, the perspective, the abundance, and the outlook of heaven to earth. So
Yes.
as you're talking about the things that I'm going to do going forward into the future, that's what I'm called to.
Right, right. And a little bit later, in a few moments, I don't know exactly when, I have a commercial that I've made, and it talks about the library of heaven.
Mhm.
That's where I go and get these stories.
Yep,
I
that's
come,
awesome. So I mentioned to you, I
yeah,
wrote a book, wrote and published a book called
yes,
Becoming Unshakable. And when I was writing my book, I would sit down and put my fingers on the keyboard and say, "Okay, Lord, what do you got today?" And all I was the fingers on the keyboard. I would
yes,
It's kind of like Star Wars where the
mm-hmm,
words appeared.
mm-hmm.
I would see, hear, feel, sense, whatever the words. So I would say of the 16 chapters in my book, probably 12 of them were written by the Holy Spirit.
There you go. That's
So
exactly it.
it
And
is.
here's the thing: you wrote that in a language that is a teaching language geared toward reaching other Christians, right?
Yep. Yep.
What I'm doing, and I want to broaden this, is that it's not
Mhm.
just going to be a true life literal story. There are all sorts of creative ways for these messages from heaven to be communicated, but it's not going to be direct and on the nose. It's going to be through art, like the painting behind me. My wife
Absolutely.
painted it,
Yep.
or from storytelling or music. And music is more than just a worship song at church. Do you understand that God loves popular culture?
He does, and
And
he
God
loves
speaks
in
through
it.
more than just worship songs. He can speak through popular culture. He can speak through movies. He can
Yep,
speak through paintings. God is always speaking, but are we paying attention?
exactly.
So
You know,
that's the broadening scope I want other people to
yeah,
understand. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
absolutely. I mean, I go to the little kid thing about you have one mouth and two ears. You should listen twice as much as you talk. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't always do that. But you're right. God is always talking. It is
Yeah.
up to us to tune into His frequency, just like you adjust an old-fashioned transistor radio. You
Mm.
know, when we tune into His frequency and just be quiet long enough to listen, He's
Yeah.
speaking volumes.
Amazing. Great. Now, Lisa, what would you say to someone? Would you ever encourage someone to get their own prophetic story? Like, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that this is an incredibly positive experience, Jerry. Again, the metaphor, the analogy, the story itself is just phenomenal. The experience is revelatory. It is something that I will carry with me for days and weeks to come because I know God's going to continue to unpack it. And I kind of hate that word, but it really fits. There is so much depth to the story that you've given me tonight that is instructional, it's encouraging, it is, like I already said, revelatory. I will absolutely be encouraging people to get their own story.
Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you
Thank
very much.
you.
Well,
And thank you.
and yes, thank you, Jen, too. So for our audience, I'd like to show our little 2.5 minute commercial. It contains little snippets of testimonies and about how people have been touched by what we do here. So hold on a second.
Okay.
How much did you know about me before you wrote that story?
Your story is just literally every line. I mean, seriously.
And just seeing that happen again in your story, well, that's just, that can't be a coincidence, obviously.
That's fantastic. Wow.
So there's some pieces of that story that are quite profound and are right in reality.
Shariah said, "I want my light to shine, Jasmine." Jasmine kissed Shariah's forehead and said, "Glow. Let your glory shine. You're worthy, Shariah." Therefore, Shariah turned away from her magical mentor and faced the dark forest before her.
Jurri, it's just incredible. It's so Holy Spirit inspired. And that's why it moves me to tears, because I just felt like He literally spoke to you. He literally spoke to you about me.
Want to know what story you're in? Discover your own tale in books written about you. Imagine a library in heaven that contains books with stories written about you and me. These stories could be in any genre, from fantasy, mystery, action-adventure, or romance. Do you want to know what story you're in?
I love that you are using what you have in a powerful way to reach people that's outside of the box.
Yeah.
You're using your skill set to lower the wall that would keep people from wanting to receive, and you're releasing what you have in a way that can be received by someone who doesn't yet know the love of God.
Yeah.
And I really commend you for that. It is a forerunning that you are doing.
Thank you.
You're pioneering it.
Yeah.
A couple people text me, what does this mean, when I sent them the link.
Right.
I've never heard of this before. That's right, because I think Jurri's the only one doing it. And I really commend you for it.
Thank you. Marcia and Edwin, thank you.
Order a personalized, revelatory, unique story to discover the glory inside your heart. Peer into the pages of the Father. Become a legend and discover your identity and destiny here in Legends of the Wind. Click the link, order now.
So there's our little commercial we made for
Great.
everybody. And, I want to open it up to the audience that you obviously have seen how this story affected Lisa and how it touched her heart. and also that it's been done for many, many people already. If you really want to get your own prophetic story, go to legendsofthewind.com. We still have a sale. It is now a 40% off sale for $145. The typical price for the full cost is $250, and I'm a trained writer. I also have the gift, and it is an artistic form. This is not church. This is not a ministry time. And so this is a creative piece of art for people. And so if you want to get a story, go to legendsofthewind.com and look for Become a Legend. You can also order a story or an illustration from my wife, Alisha. She can paint an amazing design for you, and I highly recommend it. It can be a wonderful keepsake for yourself. So check it out there. So Lysa, we're going to end the show now. But I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. I want to thank you for your incredible energy and enthusiasm to be part of this show. And you are so engaging. I love this time. I'm so thankful for you. So thank you so much for being my guest.
Well, thank you, Jurri, for having me. And it was really, really fun. It was exciting. I'm super glad that I went ahead and engaged and did this. And when I purchased my package, it was the end of August, and so it just felt like it was going to be forever before it got here. But again, it came on the appointed day. This was the day I was supposed to hear this message.
Wow, great! That's fantastic. That's amazing. So thank you so much. And Jenny, thank you for being the connection for us to have Lysa meet me and get to see Lysa. This is an amazing time. Thank you very much. So everybody, our shows are typically on Monday nights at 8 o'clock Mountain Time, 7 o'clock Pacific. We will have some shows on Thursdays here and there. In fact, this week on Thursday, Jonathan Moon will be our guest. He'll be in studio. And so you can check us out there. If you want to email me and contact me, use the address support@legendsofthewind.com. Also, my daughter Kylie has been in the chat, and so I want to acknowledge her. She says, "Love it. I said that. I am Kylie." That's her name. And she also encourages people in the audience to get a story and to get a painting and get a book. And she says, "That's from me, Kylie." And so Jen says, "You're welcome. My pleasure." It's a beautiful time. And Jen, I want to say something to you. In spite of all your trials and tribulations, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is a hope for you. There is a peace, and there is a rest for you. And you will prosper and overcome in these areas of difficulty and in your challenges. And so you're going to come out on the other side shining like a star. The gold will be fully refined. The dross will be removed. And you will have incredible healing in your heart and for your love for yourself and for the love of the Father. You are going to overcome, and you will be transformed completely. And I believe Lysa is probably part of that too. So I encourage you to listen to Lysa in your life. Lysa probably has incredible wisdom for you as well. So I highly recommend you surround yourself with people who are of light and encouragement and love. So thank you, Jenny, for your part of our lives as well. So thank you. Yay. So great. Well, guys, everyone, thank you for joining us on the show of Legends of the Wind. I will see you soon. Lysa, do not hang up. We'll see you soon.
Okay.
Guys, thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.